Okay, so as one of my video tech tutorial videos that I had mentioned before I'm continuing to doing, today this video will be on putting in a processor, applying thermal grease, and applying your heat sink, and that's your basic CPU installation. So today we're going to be doing it on a Dell Optiplex, and it is a Optiplex GX270. Okay, so without further ado, here's going to be the fun thing that I like to explain. There's little push buttons on the sides. On both sides they are the same. You push the buttons in. I already had it open, so it's cracked open already. You push those two buttons on this side and this side, and you go to open it up, and it's like opening a car. So just closes like this, and it opens like this. You can think of it two ways, either like a car or a suitcase. Alright, so first thing to do, on these sockets, they have this little lever here on the side. So what you do is just carefully lift it up like so. Then I'll show you the processor I got here. This is it's going to be really hard to tell on this camera. I got it the other way around anyways. It is yeah, you can't really tell, but I'll read it to you. It's Intel Pentium 4 2.26 gigahertz / 512 / 533. So the 512 and the 533, one of those I guess represents your amount of cache and front bus things, you know. So keep one other little thing in mind. Right here where my thumb is, there's a, well, you'll see two of them here, but this is a little dot. But right here where my thumb is a little point, like a triangle point. And that's where you want to get it properly aligned in the socket. So here's the back of it. It's different than the one that's in my main machine. This is the one that has the pins that stick out. It's always good to be careful with these, because once you've bent half of these pins, they are a bitch to get unbent. And if you bent them too damn much, they pop out and you're fucked. You're basically out of a processor. I've unbent a couple of these once before and they turned out okay. So just a little side note on that. Be careful with your pins. That's why it's important not to force these into the socket when you're putting them in. So without further ado, let's see, this should be really easy to find where this goes. It would be right here. Now that little triangle arrow thing is on right here, so that means it'll go and line up that direction. So just gently sit it in there like so. Make sure it's in there good. Now that damn phone, I hate that phone. It's always on important calls. Let's see. Just want to make sure I got it in here just right. There we go. Just push down gently a little bit, make sure it's in there. Once you know it's in there, take the little lever here on the side. Yeah, okay. Just trying to make sure it's in there. Alright, you just take your little lever, gently push down, and it clicks and snaps it right into place. Just like so. Now the next step is to put a dab of thermal grease on it. I'm using Arctic Silver 5. Arctic Silver 5 high density polysynthetic silver thermal compound. And that's all you gotta do is you just take the little top off of here, just like a regular whole syringe, you know, it's the way you squeeze it. And just put a little dab. Just like that. So now the next part is taking your heat sink assembly with cooling fan and sitting it in, plugging in the electrical for the cooling fan. One thing I forgot to mention in part 1, before you put in your processor, it is best to clean off the old junk. Some of us like to recycle our thermal grease and just leave them as is if we didn't have any, and I've done that a few times. But since you got some new thermal grease, you clean off the processor, of course. You clean all the old off of that one. Clean off the old thermal grease there. And you clean off the old thermal grease that was once on here. What you do is you could use, I did it earlier, that's why I already jumped ahead of this. You use rubbing alcohol. I use 91% solution. You don't have to use that. You could use a little lower if you choose to. I went as high as it goes, and the highest I got on the shelf was the 91% solution. So the higher the better, really. That way you get a good clean. So, and I took a few cotton balls. I got some cotton balls there. And just take 2 cotton balls and put them over the top of your alcohol bottle and dab some alcohol on them, and just wipe them vigorously until you get it all nice and shiny and clean like it is now. So, with that in mind, let's see here. Okay, this is going the back way. So, there's a pin, a plastic pin lock on this end. I used to try to take it out, but it's not necessary to. Just the one on the other side comes right off. So what I'm going to try to do here while holding the camera, I'm just going to get it down under there. Okay. And now that it's on the other side, I'm going to push down. There's also a pin that'll, there we go, snapped right in. Alright. Now that I've heard that snap, I know it's in there. And I'll double check this side too. You just take your other clip and make sure I get it on there this time the right way. And that just pushes in and locks right down in there. Just like so. Make sure nothing's loosey-goosey. Alright, now you take your pin cord for your cooling fan, and make sure you remember to plug it in, of course. And you locate it on your board, and mine would be right where my finger's pointing. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that down in there. Let's see which way it locks in, which way. Okay, locks in right here. Try my best to do this while holding the camera. Alright. Let's see, where did I go? Okay. So now it's plugged in there. But anyways, just make sure your wires don't hang out when you go to reclose it. Since I know they won't be in the way, I'm just going to leave it like that. And that's it. That's all there is to it. Everything's locked in and plugged in. And we'll just close the case. And you're done. That, my friends, is how you put in your processor, apply thermal grease, and plug in your cooling fan. And that was all done on a Dell Optiplex, I believe it was a GX270. So, with that in mind, that concludes this tech tutorial video on central processing units, or CPUs, or otherwise commonly known as processors. Beforehand, I did a processor switch on this machine, and I took the other one out, and I put the original one back in, the one I just showed you in the videos. That's the original processor, so I put it back in. And I thought I'd take a chance and do this tutorial video. So, hope this helps for anyone who was wondering how it can be done. And until next time, I'll vlog you later. Take it easy.